It's finally over. Tampa Bay Lightning winning the Stanley Cup. Let's talk about it. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? My name is Matt and welcome to this episode of The Sauce. In today's video, we're talking about the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Montreal Canadiens. Tampa Bay winning the Stanley Cup in 5 games. I was trying to get this video out before Game 5 took place, but as you can hear, I haven't been feeling the best, and no, it's not because of celebrating that the Tampa Bay Lightning have won. It's just I'm feeling a little under the weather, so bear with me. Sorry if I sound funky. So in this video, I don't want to talk about just the Tampa Bay Lightning and how they've won the Stanley Cup. I also want to talk about Montreal and a little bit about what's next to come in the beginning of the off season. So without further ado, let's get saucing. Okay, so as you may or may not be able to see on the board behind me, the Tampa Bay Lightning have defeated the Montreal Canadiens in 5 games to win their 2nd consecutive Stanley Cup. They joined teams like the Pittsburgh Penguins in 16-17, the Pittsburgh Penguins in 90-91, the Red Wings 97-98, and the Oilers, I think it's 90-91 or 89-90, I think, around that area. So in the last, I want to say prior to the dynasty of the Oilers and or at the end of the Oilers and after the dynasty of the Islanders, these are the recent back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. So Tampa Bay elite group there, 5-game series. I know that may seem like an easy series, but Montreal really pressed, really played tough and physical, and they're a good team. They deserve to be there, and it was a great series to watch. Okay, so let's talk about the breakdown of the games. In Game 1 on June 28th, the Lightning defeat the Canadiens 5-1. Now, that may seem bad, I don't know, I think it could have been nerves because every game after that was pretty tightly contested. And even when Tampa appeared to pull away at times, Montreal would come back or make it close. So Tampa wins Game 1 5-1. I have the scorers down here: Chernak, Gord, Cooch, and Stamkos. Cooch twice from the Tampa Bay Lightning and Sherratt from the Montreal Canadiens. So Game 1, Tampa wins at home. Game 2 takes place a few days later. They win that game 3-1. Again, like I said, a tighter game than Game 1. A lot of times the nerves are settling. Tampa Bay was here last year, so for them, they're more calm and collected. Game 2, honestly, I think the Montreal Canadiens deserve to win Game 2. They outshot the Lightning. I think it was 41-22 or something like that. And they played their hearts out. That's a game that I think the Montreal Canadiens should have won and possibly could have won. But Cirelli, Coleman, and Palat from the Lightning are your scorers there, and Nick Suzuki from the Montreal Canadiens there. But again, that Game 2, I think the Lightning were outplayed. I think that was Montreal's game to win and to try to really push the Lightning and make this a tough back-and-forth series. Something I didn't mention before ahead of Game 3, so in Games 1 and 2, Trent Richardson, the assistant coach of the Montreal Canadiens, was the head coach at the start of this series and the end of the Vegas series because head coach Dominic Ducharme tested positive for COVID. So that was a big concern, but they were able to close out the Vegas series under him. So going into the Stanley Cup final, you should be confident in that guy behind the bench. So that was great. And then Dominic Ducharme comes back in Game 3, hoping to turn the tide and win a game at home in Bell Center. Due to COVID, Montreal, or at least the Quebec province, was not letting in more than, I think it was 3,500 fans, which is unfortunate because you'd like to hear a loud ruckus, packed house in Bell Center for the Stanley Cup final game. First for Montreal since 1993, and a chance that a Canadian team can win the Cup. You'd only hope that they were able to do so. But moving on. So Game 3, Montreal's big chance to get back into the series, not even up the series. They lose that game 6-3. Scorers for Tampa: Ruda, Hedman, Cooch, Johnson twice, and then you have Deneau, Suzuki, and Perry for the Canadiens. Honestly, this game was much more high energy, much more open than the previous 2 games. Even though the Lightning won that first game 5-1, it was tight checking and just the bounces go your way, and you get to just throw pucks on net. You never know what happens. So in this Game 3 here, it was more open, was quiet up until, Ruda and Hedman jumped in early in the first period to get the Lightning going, but it was quiet a little bit after that. So Game 3, 6-3, again, The scores don't necessarily reflect how well the Canadiens are playing. The one thing throughout this entire series that was a big issue was turnovers. Montreal made a lot of costly mistakes. Some of them didn't always lead to goals. However, there's a good amount of them that did. And those turnovers really hurt the Canadiens and pushed the momentum back in the Lightning's favor. So, again, the scores don't reflect how tight this series was. Even though Tampa showed at times they are this reigning Stanley Cup champs, they are a great team, Montreal was really pressing in a lot of these games, and it's unfortunate again they didn't get the result that they were looking for, but 6-3 game doesn't reflect what caused it. A lot of those silly turnovers from Montreal led to Tampa goals. So let's move on to Game 4. In Game 4, going to this side of the board here, last game in Bell Center before heading back to Tampa. Tampa Bay Lightning has a chance to sweep. That hasn't happened since 1998. It was the Detroit Red Wings and the Washington Capitals. So Tampa looking to join history there and sweeping an opponent in the Stanley Cup final. Montreal had other plans. Anderson scored twice in this game, and Romanov scored once in this game for the Canadiens. Goudreau and Maroon scoring for the Tampa Bay Lightning. What's significant about this? The Montreal Canadiens scored first in this game, and they won. The Lightning, I can't remember the stat. I couldn't find it. I tried. The Lightning stat for not winning games when they don't score first is not good. So the fact that Montreal got the first goal was huge, huge momentum swing. They were able to dictate the pace of the game, and Montreal wins it in overtime. Lightning had a power play at the end of the third into overtime. I thought they would end it. Kucherov had a chance at a tip-in that goes off the bar, and just can't get it done in OT in the third period. And in OT, the Montreal stellar penalty killing goes to work again, kills this penalty, and then they wound up getting the game winner in overtime by Josh Anderson, which was amazing. He was diving for the puck and just, it was a beautiful goal. It was an amazing game. I was frustrated, but at the same time, I had that sense this was their game to win. Kind of like Game 2 for the Tampa Bay Lightning and Montreal Canadiens I mentioned earlier. That was Montreal's game that they should have won. This was a game that Tampa should have won, but they couldn't get anything going. So there you have it there. So that's Game 4. Heading back to Tampa. Like I said, heading back to Tampa for Game 5. A really, really tight game. I was actually very calm for this game. I don't know why. Compared to any of the other games, I felt calm about it. Maybe because I had a couple of beers and I was feeling good about the game. But I don't know, I felt calm about the game the whole time. There was only one goal scored in this game. Ross Colton, and again, the stat was flashed on the screen and I can't find it. Ross Colton, I think, is the first rookie or second rookie to score a game-winning goal in a series-clinching game to win the Stanley Cup. That's awesome. The goal was an amazing one. There was a scrum in the corner boards in the Lightning offensive zone. Puck gets out to the defenseman, comes across to from McDonough to Savard. Savard throws a pass to the net. Colton has his stick on the ice. Quick little tip in from the center of the ice, and that would be the game winner, but we didn't know that just yet. So Colton gets the game winner, Lightning win 1-0, and Vasilevsky gets his 5th shutout in these playoffs. Not only that, he has shutout getting to the Stanley Cup Game 6 of last year. Every single series-clinching game, he has shut out the opponent, dating back to Game 6 last year against the Dallas Stars. Amazing stat. We'll talk more about Vasilevsky in a little bit. So there you have it. It's a quick rundown of the games 1 through 5 and what the teams had to go through. Again, Montreal, the scores don't reflect how tight they played the Lightning, but the Lightning are a team that it wasn't always like this. There was a lot of frustration. The Lightning are too small. They're fast and skilled, but once you get close and in their face, they can't do anything, which was proven true. And the Lightning have become this team that if you want to play tough and fight, we're going to play that style. We'll play tight and defensive. If you want to play open, wild, and offensive, we're going to play that style. And the Lightning were able to match any opponent's style in these playoffs. So Again, congrats to Tampa Bay Lightning. Montreal Canadiens should be super proud of this team that they iced, as well as the Montreal Canadiens fans out there to get where they were. Everybody was counting them out, and this was an amazing series to watch. I get it, honestly. Obviously, that sounds more biased because the Lightning won, but it was a great series to watch. As I also mentioned, you take out those turnovers, or at least some of those turnovers, this is a whole different series. It's a lot tighter series. So do with that what you will. But now I want to get into some what's to come and a little bit more about the final. So a couple of things. So first thing there, lightning strikes twice. So there's always that comment, you know, about lightning striking twice. So it's pretty cool. There's a Stanley Cup Champions t-shirt that I'm looking forward to getting that says lightning strikes twice. So that's pretty cool. This is their third cup in franchise history. This is their fourth cup appearance and their third cup win, beating the Flames in 2004, the Stars in 2020, and beating the Canadiens here in 2021, losing to Chicago in 2015. So a little bit more of the Stanley Cup final history for Tampa. For Montreal, this was their 26th cup appearance. They have 23 Stanley Cups in that time span. So they have a pretty good track record, Montreal, and they have a very historic franchise. And again, you know, it was really cool to see this Cinderella story. Obviously, I would have loved if it was Vegas and Tampa. My wife and I would be going at it and watching these games, and that would have been a lot more fun for us. However, Montreal deserved to be here. They showed that they deserved to be here, and they played really tough. And as I mentioned in a prior video, these two teams are normally in not only the same conference, but in the same division, in the Atlantic Division in East. So the East is very tough. In the years to come, it's going to get tougher. I think the East is going to be the Cup champions for the next couple of years here. Colorado and Vegas are the scary teams to come out of the West. Minnesota possibly could contest based on what I saw in these last playoffs, but other than that, the East is just, it's stacked. So the East is, it's going to be a tough conference to beat. All right, so let's talk about Vasilevsky, because he rightfully deserved to win the Conn Smythe, and he did. The Conn Smythe goes to the MVP of the playoffs, and it has gone to a player from the losing team before with Jean-Sebastien Giguère on the Mighty Ducks. He was 16-7 in these playoffs. He had 5 shutouts. He had a .937 save percentage and a 1.90 goals against average. He is the first goaltender to win the Conn Smythe since Jonathan Quick in 2012 with the Los Angeles Kings, and he is the first non-North American goaltender to win the award. Obviously, Vasilevsky being from Russia, this is huge and historic for him and for his country and his countrymen. So that's pretty cool. And then the other big stat that I really wanted to talk about with the Tampa Bay Lightning and this team is that they are 14-0 after a loss. So to give some more history, 2019, the Lightning win the President's Trophy. They had a historic season, almost the best season ever in the history of the NHL. That didn't happen. They get to the first round of the playoffs, they get swept. Ever since that playoff year, the Lightning, when they lose, they will win the very next game. Now, obviously, I'm not superstitious. That doesn't always happen. That stat is not going to last forever. However, that is an amazing stat, and this team is super resilient, and I've loved watching them play. They've given me some joy and heartache over the years. Obviously, the joy coming in these past 2 seasons, but you know, if I were to quickly go back just a second as a Lightning fan, I can't speak as a Canadiens fan. As a Lightning fan, and as I mentioned before in their breakdown of the history prior to the Cup final, Tampa Bay Lightning obviously lost the Stanley Cup in 2015. 2017, when Pittsburgh won it, they went to the Eastern Conference Final and they lose. Go against Washington, Game 7, 2018, they lose. Both of those teams they lost to go on to win the Cup. If they win those games, do they win the Cup? I don't know. It's tough, and then getting swept the year after that. So this team has been good for years. They've had a few playoff misses in that time frame. Since the 2004 Stanley Cup, they've had a couple of rotten seasons, but with those rotten seasons, we get Steven Stamkos and Victor Hedman. So this team has been together, not the exact core, but some of this core has been together for many years. They know what it takes to lose, and they know what it takes now to win. There were talks that the Lightning can three-peat, and that kind of brings me into what's next for both of these teams. So, up next is going to be the Seattle expansion draft coming up on July 21st. So think about that for a second. We're now at July 8th, 9th. The Stanley Cup was July 7th. In a short time frame, every single team needs to submit their protected player lists. Basically, players that Seattle cannot take if the players have a no movement clause in their contract, and I don't want to get into all the idiosyncrasies because I'll lose some of the people out there that don't know what I'm talking about. Basically, forces them to protect them that they may not want to protect because they pay them a lot of money or they're not performing, whatever. So these teams, along with every other team, needs to submit a protected list here in the coming weeks prior to the Seattle expansion draft. So both of these teams will lose a player from this Stanley Cup run. More than likely, someone who played in the Stanley Cup final. More than likely. There's a chance it could not be. So they'll lose a player. The NHL entry draft is a few days after that, which you draft all the rookies. And then after that is NHL free agency. So with the salary cap being where it is, still a flat cap, I think it's 81 million or something like that. Both of these teams, well, Tampa needs to get back under the cap, and there's going to be some trades coming. Rumors of Tyler Johnson going to Seattle because he's from there, I think would be great, not only for Tampa, but for Seattle. That's awesome. I love the way he played in these playoffs, don't get me wrong, but we need to be cap compliant. I think some big names are going to get moved, and that the talks about the three-peat, it depends who we're able to salvage from the coming weeks here. So ask me in a couple weeks where I think this Lightning team is going to be next year. So we'll see about that. As for the Canadiens, I think the future looks bright. This was a Cinderella run for the ages. It was phenomenal to watch. Surprising first round victory over Toronto, sweeping the Winnipeg Jets, and then defeating Vegas before coming to face Tampa. It's just amazing. It is amazing for them, and I think that's only going to make this team stronger and grow as a group. You know, you have guys like Cole Caulfield, who just started his career, Nick Suzuki, who's a young up-and-coming player, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, Alexander Romanov, who played in the Game 4 victory, who he should have been playing in the other games as well, if you ask me. And so there's a young core of Montreal and some defense, or not just defense, there's some veterans out there that'll help push this team along. So excited to see where Montreal goes as well. So let's see if I can wrap this up with a bow. Obviously, I'm very excited that the Tampa Bay Lightning are back-to-back champions. As far as three-peating goes, I don't know. I do enjoy it when somebody else wins. Believe it or not, I do enjoy it when another team wins. But it just depends on what happens these next coming weeks. If the Lightning can even attempt to repeat and three-peat the Stanley Cup champions. Need to sign guys like Blake Coleman, in my opinion. I think that guy is going to be should be a staple for the Lightning, but how do you re-sign him when you're already tight to the cap? So it's going to be difficult for the Lightning to do. Montreal has plenty of cap space. I think they may go after one of the big fish in the offseason. Montreal's big thing was don't turn over the puck, and secondary scoring was their big thing in these playoffs. I think they build on that. I think the Atlantic Division next season is going to be the toughest division. Teams like, because it goes back to normal from what I've been told, Tampa, Montreal, Boston, Buffalo, you have Toronto, Ottawa on the up and up, it's Florida. It's not going to be a cakewalk for that division. And the top three teams they punch their ticket into the Stanley Cup playoffs, and then there's a chance that one, maybe two, depending on how well they do versus the other Metropolitan Division does. So there's a lot up in the air, but this has been exciting. It's been, again, a historic run, back-to-back champions. It's super exciting to be a fan in this time, knowing the hardships that the Lightning have faced, and to do it in front of fans this year, but to not have any fans last year. And as I said it before, for any team, it could have been Dallas last year. It's great to just have fans in the building, and for the Lightning team to win this and celebrate in front of the fans, it's awesome. So that's going to do it for this episode of The Sauce. Make sure you click like if you like this video, click subscribe if you really like the video, and make sure you share this video with your friends and family. One little word of note here. This is going to be the last video of the sauce. My wife and I really want to focus more so on the main channel for Slice of Life and do more things together. This has been so much fun for me, and I'm super happy I get to go out with a bang and wrap it up with the Tampa Bay Lightning winning the Stanley Cup. What comes next? I'm probably going to be doing a podcast, or at least try to do a podcast, maybe some YouTube videos in there as well, but just it gets difficult to do both while we're trying to grow this young channel. So hopefully you've enjoyed the sauce. Again, it's going to wrap it up. I may go back on my word and do a video for the draft, but it might be very difficult and I might lose a lot of non-hockey fans. So probably not, probably the last video. Thank you again for watching. Stay saucy. We'll see you on the main channel.